gear is not good gear, but we had it. As we're about to step onto the Hummer to go down to Kfar Aza, the hardest hit kibbutz outside of Gaza, a person comes up, long beard, soldier, a rabbi, says, "Stop! When a Jew goes down to war, we don't just rush down. The Torah tells us that there's a way to go down to war. We don't just go down." And he opens up a Tanakh and he starts reading from the Psukim, reading from the verses that you're supposed to say as you go out to war, like David HaMelech, like the soldiers, like the Maccabim, like Bar Kokhba. And he brings the shofar, and we have a little mini Yom Kippur davening on our way out to war. Instead of explaining to you, why don't I just show you what it looked like? Check it out. Wow, that's how we got sent off to war, with holiness. Did you notice in the video, there's still guys getting prepared. We're not ready to go down yet. We're literally on our way into the Hummers. We're still strapping our straps and making sure everything is ready to go. And as we get in the Hummer and make our way down, I decided to do something that little did I know would change my life a little bit, and I made a little video. Did not send it to the world. I sent it to my family WhatsApp chat because I thought that they would think it's cool. And I just sent a very simple video. Guys, I'm going down to do something really intense right now. Please do something good. Be light. A little bit of light can destroy a lot of darkness. Do a mitzvah you haven't done in 30 days. And that kind of changed everything. And the truth is, that's part of my story as well. Because every time I made a video and you guys were listening to it, it was my way of processing what I was doing, what I was going through. And so I wasn't just doing it for you, but you guys listening, you were doing it for me. And you were a part of me getting through the war. And so for that, I thank you. That's a round of applause, guys. So we're making our way down in the Hummer, and you would think that we would be nervous. You would think we would be scared. You would think that we wouldn't want to be there. You tell me what we're doing. A little pre-war kumsitz. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm the official kumsitz guy in my unit. That's my real job. Forget the Negev. I'm the singer of the unit with a bad voice. Look at that. And that's how we go down to Kfar Aza. We're getting down to Kfar Aza. I'm not going to go into the details. You guys have seen the videos of what it looked like on the roads, the things we had to avoid. We're swerving, zigzagging back and forth to avoid the burnt cars. I'll never forget the strollers in the road, the car seats. It was totally apocalyptic. It felt like a movie. And we're going down and we get to Kfar Aza, and we get out of Kfar Aza knowing exactly what knowing what our job is, knowing that it's not going to be fun. And we get out and we do something crazy. You guys ready? True story. Bullets flying, rockets. There's still parts of Kfar Aza, this tiny little kibbutz, that is controlled by Hamas. There's still terrorists everywhere. We're talking about October 7th, October 8th, during the times where Hamas is still there. They're still fighting. And when we get out of our Hummer, my team of 6 gets together and we huddle up. We huddle up like before a basketball game. And we look at each other and we start doing mindful breathing. Bullets flying, rockets going on, and my team is in the middle of a little therapy session. We're doing deep breaths. It took about a minute. After we do the deep breaths, we look at each other and we say, this is gonna suck. Totally. But it's also going to be temporary, and it's also has a purpose. What in our right minds were we thinking, instead of going and actually starting our mission to stand there and do a little mini therapy, mindfulness, hippie stuff in the middle of a war zone, in the middle of a battle? What's wrong with us? Truth is, those few minutes that we took might have saved us. We're still asking the question, are we okay? Right? And that's the truth. We're still asking the question, are we okay? How are we doing? And my team, Baruch Hashem, is doing okay. And I attribute that to those few minutes we took. Now, what were we thinking? Why did we do such a thing? And it's amazing. Every single year we trained physically. We put stretchers on our back and vests, and we're walking and we're sweating and it's hard. But the year before the war was a little different. They brought in a trauma expert from Sderot. And the trauma expert from Sderot said, I know what you guys do. And don't worry, you're not screwed. Just because you're going to see potentially something terrible or go through something terrible doesn't mean you're doomed for life. There's something you can do before doing something difficult and traumatic, during and after, to help yourself cope so that it doesn't affect you negatively for life. Okay, what do? He says, first, you can always breathe. You can always breathe. You don't have to rush into anything. Take a few deep breaths. Next, keep in mind 3 things. Number 1, this is gonna suck. Number 2, this is temporary. And number 3, there's a purpose to this. And if you keep those 3 things in mind, you're actually minimizing your chances of getting PTSD. You're minimizing the chances of this affecting you forever. And he said, it's not just this. Anything in life you can do this for. And that brings me to my first mission. Mission number 1, we keep on saying in our unit, your mental strength is your ammunition. If you're coming into battle, not ready over here, it's like going in without bullets, guys. You wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to do that. So if we can stand in the middle of Kfar Aza, surrounded by the things we were surrounded by, with the bullets flying and the rockets flying, and we can take deep breaths, so can you. We are all going to have things and have had things that are very difficult in life, and we're going to be going through them, and it's going to suck. It's going to suck. You're going to have difficult things in your life. It could be visiting a sick relative, chas v'shalom, or a shiva call. You can always just breathe. The work for that starts today. So this is my mission for you if you choose to accept it. 1 hour per week, working on your mental strength. What does that mean? It could mean for some of us therapy. You know, my wife in the middle of the war said, have you thought about maybe seeing a therapist after everything that you saw? I said, yes. She said, you kind of needed it beforehand too. Thanks. You're not wrong. You see, some of the things that I went through in the war is a teacher, right? Some of the things that I went through in the war, I learned the hard way. I wish I had done beforehand. Some of the things, I learned the easy way. Some of the things I learned because, thank God, I was up to the task. And so this is an example of something I wish I knew before. 1 hour per week. It could be therapy, mindfulness, yoga, meditation, YouTube, breath work, whatever you need to do. Start taking care because you never know when you're going to need it. And if I'm going to sum up this entire speech that I have together in 1 sentence, is that you never know when you're going to be when you're going to need to be at your best. So the day to start working on it is right now. Amazing. We're continuing on. We get out of Kfar Aza. This is the type of work that we had to do. You can actually see me in the corner going like this. I'm shoving the press out of the way because Fox News was there and CNN and BBC, and I was so annoyed that they were there bothering us. Little did I realize this was the first time that the international world was about to see what actually happened, the first time they let them in. And our work is very difficult. If you ever want to know which picture is the picture of me, always look for the guy with his shirt untucked. Yeah, that's me. Our work is physically difficult. We're constantly bending down, picking up the stretcher, and we had to put it on the truck, which was all the way up here. And we're constantly bending down, picking it up, bending down, picking it up. It's physically exhausting. It's very heavy. And after a while, I start seeing my boys, my guys, they start getting a little tired. And I said to them, "You guys okay?" They said, "Yeah, we just need a little break." "You need a little break? No problem. You can take a break. There's nothing wrong with that." I'm thinking about myself. I'm like, wait a second. I feel good. Why am I doing okay? What's different between me and everybody else? I'm not some Rambo. I'm not stronger than anybody else. What's going on? And then I remembered, a year and a half ago, my wife takes a look at me. And she looks at me. She looks at my belly. She goes, "You know, Arky, I think it's time to start going to the gym." I cried myself to sleep that night. I woke up the next morning and I said, "You know what, Abigail, you're right. It's probably a good idea." And I started doing something called CrossFit. You guys have ever heard of CrossFit? The worst. Oh my gosh, the worst. And so we're doing CrossFit every 3 times a week for a year. And we're constantly doing this, picking up the dumbbells, going like this, picking up the dumbbells, going like this. And little did I know that every single time that I'm picking up the dumbbell, what am I really doing? I'm preparing for that day. I'm getting ready for when I needed it the most. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, Baruch Hashem, thank you to my wife. How would I have lived with myself if I wasn't ready that day? How would I live with myself if I couldn't pick up the stretcher? If I wasn't strong enough? You know, ironically, the motion that we do in CrossFit, when you lift up a dumbbell like that, it's called a deadlift. I'm allowed to make those jokes, you guys aren't. And so it was. For a year and a half, I was preparing for that day. It's okay, you can laugh, it's fine. I was preparing for that day. And so my next mission for you guys is very simple. You don't need another person coming up and telling you to get healthy, be strong, but here I am. That's exactly what I'm doing. You don't know when you're going to need it, guys. It could be picking up your grandchildren. It could be playing hide and go seek with your nieces and nephews. Who knows what it is, but you're going to want to be strong. And this is the time to start working on it. So, 2 hours per week. Doesn't matter if it's going to the gym, or if it's playing basketball, or if it's walking, or if it's running on the treadmill. Whatever works for you. 2 hours per week. You're constantly getting yourself physically stronger and physically healthy. You will not regret it. Amazing. Every single mission that we did, and we had many missions, we would go down south, and when we would come out of Gaza, we were greeted like this. Look out for Banana Man. Anybody notice the human banana? Yeah? So on our way out of Gaza, you are greeted with religious, secular bananas, everything you could possibly imagine, all to celebrate, all to sing, all to dance, to give you food, to give you gear, to give you whatever you want, and you feel that love. I call it the sandwich. The sandwich of love from Am Yisrael, because as you go into war, you're getting that love, you're sent out with that love, and as you go back, you're getting that love. And in the beginning, it's like, is this really appropriate, right? I was 15 minutes ago. Guys, it's a 15-minute drive from hell to this. Am I really supposed to be singing and dancing right now? Is Is that really appropriate? And the truth is, this is exactly what we needed. Because it would remind us every single time why we're doing what we're doing. The connection between the home front and the front lines is so special, so intertwined. And that's your guys. That's you. When I say home front, I'm not just talking about Israel. I'm talking about the Jewish people around the world. We're feeling that chibuk. We're feeling that hug. And because we feel that hug, we're motivated every single time. And it means so much to us. If you notice the song that we're singing, right? By the way, who noticed that it was the same song we sang on the Hummer on the way down as the one we were just in a little bit of a different vibe, right? Va'afilu behastara shebetoch hastara. Even in the darkest times, ani omed, I'm standing with you. I felt Hashem. I felt Hashem in Kfar Aza. I felt Hashem in Gaza. I felt Hashem in every mission that we did. Monash, we had miracles. Guys, we had miracles. We saw miracles. Whether it be when we were in Kfar Aza, we were going house to house to gather the fallen civilians. And I was about to walk into this house right here, and my friend yells, Alki, yesh pachut. It's a good thing I learned Hebrew by then, right? because that meant, Arki, there's a wife. I was about to walk into a booby-trapped house. Yes, a Jewish kibbutz that had been booby-trapped by Hamas so that the next soldier that would walk in would blow up. Or how about the time that the rockets were flying and we had to make a decision. Do we stand outside with the rockets or do we go inside? So we run inside to where there's a bomb shelter. We go into the bomb shelter, there's terrorists there. Thank God he's dead, lying on the floor. But the grenade that he's holding in his hand, can it blow up? As we were right there, right? All you need to do is just budge the hand a little bit and boom, it blows up. So now we have to decide, are we inside with the live grenade or are we outside with the rockets flying? What would you guys do? Outside, right? Good call. We run outside. 2 minutes later, the grenade was blown up. We had Nisim. We had miracles. I felt Hashem. But I was also very angry. Also very angry at Hashem. You can only be angry at something you're close to, right? I felt Hashem, but I was angry at Hashem. You know, I grew up thinking that good people got saved for doing good things. I kept on hearing those stories over and over and over again. Almost every story I heard was about good people doing good things and therefore were saved. Classic example, right? 9/11, you have the people who went to Slichot and were saved from the falling towers. Those are special stories. They're inspirational stories. They teach us to be good. They're important stories. But if all we tell are stories about good people getting saved for doing good things, what happens when the good people aren't saved? I took care of good people in Kfar Aza. I brought home and buried good soldiers who were Moser Nefesh for our country, for our people. The utmost highest Kedusha. The Gemara or the Medrash says that these people don't even need a Tahara. They're so holy, they don't need a Tahara. You bury them as is. I thought good people were saved. And so I struggled with it, not gonna lie. 2 weeks of having trouble with davening and with Emunah and with a lot of processing, I realized it wasn't Hashem that I was mad at. It was what I was told about Hashem. You see, some people grow up with only stories of miracles, and some people grow up with only stories of tragedies. And I realized I was imbalanced. I was totally imbalanced. Because I thought that good people always got saved, but that's not how Hashem works, does it? We need to build our emunah so strong, our bitachon so strong, our connection with Hashem so strong, that on the day that the things we daven for don't happen, and the tragedy does happen, we still feel Him next to us. How do we do that? I have no idea. But one suggestion that I have is, and this brings me to my third mission, speak to Hashem. Develop a relationship with Hashem by speaking to Hashem. And no, I'm not talking about Dylan. And no, I'm not talking about Shemon Esrei. I'm not talking about tefillin or lighting candles. I'm not talking about all of the absolute musts of the basic tenets of Judaism. I'm talking about the little extra that we can do to develop that relationship so that he's close to us and we feel him even when things go wrong. So, 1 hour per week, guys. I'm cutting into all your time. That's it. You don't have much time left in the week. 1 hour per week. It doesn't have to be 1 hour at a time, guys. 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, in your own language, in your own words, coming from the heart. Our avot did it, our imahot did it. When they spoke to Hashem, they spoke from here. So can you? You don't have to be in Brussels or in the middle of the forest to do it, right, Rabbi? There you go. Speak to Hashem or listen to this guy. He's got some